coming to your city. We're gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat. Thanks a lot for joining us here on this 9th day of January, 2019. I wrote down the wrong day, but somehow my mind said it correctly. I wrote down 2018, but somehow my mind made the correction, and then I questioned myself.
I still haven't pulled the whole 2018 thing yet on any dates.
I don't even want to hear it. Don't say it. Hope your day's off to a great start. Thanks a lot for joining us. Take us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. We appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along the way. Great program today, as always. Matt Weaver from Peegs.com will be along. We're going to talk about some offensive coordinator news for Indiana. Also on the show, Colin Hartman, former Hoosier player. Look forward to talking to Colin. Lots to get to, lots of action. But let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this January 9th. 2019. Two NFL teams have filled their head coaching vacancies as the Cardinals hire Cliff Kingsbury and the Buccaneers hire Bruce Arians. Broncos are supposedly close to making a hire as well. Couple of Big Ten games last night as Michigan State smacks Purdue 77-59, and Maryland, Indiana's next opponent on Friday, wins 82-67 at Minnesota. Those are your headlines for this January 9th, 2019.
Lovely. A little bit of action last night. Purdue, Michigan State. Michigan State wins that game. What was the score on that?
77-59.
Close one.
Yeah. A little bit.
Purdue battles. Not really. Just making it up. Making it up. Yeah. I think life's going to be rough for Purdue this year.
Yeah.
They're still listed as I think a 7 seed on Lenardi's deal. Watch that drop.
Yeah.
Drop. Like the ball on New Year's Eve, baby. It's going to just continue to drop.
In a league filled with talent, they just don't have enough of it.
No. Not this year especially. They're a one-man show. No doubt about that. How's your day going? Hit us up on the text line also. That number is 812-269-6367. Again, that's 812-269-6367. Let us know what thoughts, comments, questions, Matt Weaver or Colin Hartman today on the program. Also, make sure if you're looking to find us, if you can't listen live on Big X Sports Radio, 1450, 96.1 in Southern Indiana, you can find us at a myriad of places, including Facebook, at indianasportsbeat.com. You can also find us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, Apple Play, Google Play, all the Spotify. We're ubiquitous, as Justin likes to say. We're everywhere. So for your listening pleasure. No, not everyone gets to listen to us live. But we appreciate everyone who listens, period.
Sure.
Thank you so much. You can also find me on Twitter at Jim Coyle ISB. Feel free to hit me up there. Or you can also send any questions on Facebook, like many people do. Let us know what your thoughts are about Friday night's game. Indiana travels to Maryland. That should be quite the matchup. I'm very interested to see what changes Archie might make. I think that he's a little pissed off, to be honest with you. I know he was pissed off after the Michigan game in that press conference. That's as pissed off as I've seen him. And it wasn't that he lost the game, I don't think, because you're going into Michigan playing the number 2 team. That's, even the most competitive person can understand it's a tough place to go do something. Not about that. It's about the fact of how they did it. They were down 19 at one point.
Yeah.
Quickly. Now, foul trouble in the first half just destroyed them, but I think part of that was Archie left Romeo and Juwan out too long. You can't have not only your 2 best scorers, but basically your only 2 scorers on the bench. Pointless. I understand they both had 2 fouls, but you lost. The game was lost right there. When those guys went to the bench, history. They were down 8, and by the time they got back, the onslaught was on.
They'd give them credit. I mean, they fought back, but
Yeah, it's easy to fight back when you're up down 19
Sure.
because you got nowhere to go but up,
sure.
and the other team's got nowhere to go but down. And you can't expect the opposing team to keep their foot on the gas pedal like that. It's kind of hard to do mentally. So you're going to start regressing, but that's fine. You build a big enough lead, then you just play average, and you're going to win by, 9, 10, 11 points. How many did they win by? 11 points.
Yeah.
That was being facetious there a little bit. But yeah, they
We're using the big words today.
got
Come on.
ubiquitous and facetious out in the first 10 minutes. Wow.
I think that game on Friday night, after seeing Maryland last night, I watched a little bit of that game. They looked pretty good. 15-point win at Minnesota. Speaking of, have you seen Minnesota's floor this year?
I have not.
It is bright. My goodness, it's bright. They painted it almost a white color. As soon as I flipped it on my TV, I was like, oh my goodness. Need some shades going in there.
Well, I'll see it soon.
Eventually.
There are only 10 colleges with both the men's and women's basketball team ranked. Indiana's one of those.
That's right.
Men's team currently number 22 in the AP poll, and the women's team sitting at number 25.
Kentucky would be another, I believe.
Yeah, Louisville's not, men's team's not ranked right
No.
now. Their women's team's number 2. Purdue's women's team's not ranked. Because we know the men's team's not.
Just take those jabs. Taking those jabs on a Wednesday.
Oh, it's easy. Do that one. You can jab Purdue sitting down. Not a lot going on there. But I'm looking forward to the NFL games this weekend. Fired up, the Colts on the road again. Man, these are some tough games this weekend.
I think they pull the upset.
I believe they do as well. Where are they playing?
Kansas City.
That's right, they're in Kansas City.
Well, ever since Kansas City lost Kareem Hunt, their running back, they've not been the same team.
Well, it makes a difference when you lose. Not as much usually in football unless it's a quarterback. But he's a big part of their offense.
Yeah.
But they have a hell of a quarterback, and they have a hell of an offense. They have a hell of a coach. It's going to be something.
Be a shootout.
I hope that the Colts defense can handle that Chiefs offense with Patrick Mahomes.
Well, that's the good thing. Chiefs have a crap defense, too, so Colts will be able to put up some points.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of Patrick Mahomes, his old coach, Cliff Kingsbury, fired at Texas Tech at the end of the season, hired at USC as their offensive coordinator, blocked from interviewing with NFL teams for potential jobs. It's gave them a black eye. They let him interview, and now he's the head coach for the Arizona Cardinals.
I think that's one of my favorite football names.
Arizona Cardinals?
No, Cliff Kingsbury. It's just such a fun name.
Well, there's a little... People are... he never coached a minute at USC. I wonder how much money he was paid while he was there. He probably made $100,000 in the time he was there, doing nothing. He made more than me and you were going to make this year combined in a month, doing nothing. Looking for another job.
I could probably up that to 2 years.
Looking for another job. Not bad. Not a bad gig. If you can get it, right?
If you can get it.
Well, not many of us can. That's the joy of coaching. They get to do they get to make a lot of money. Get to make a lot of money. What are your thoughts on the NFL games this week? Just curious. I know it's breaking away from normal, but it's NFL playoff time. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
some big games. The Patriots and the Chargers?
Yep.
Man, it's so hard to win in New England.
Battle the old quarterbacks.
It's so hard to win in New England.
Yeah.
Chargers are kind of a hot team right now. But Belichick had a week off.
That's never good.
No, you can't. That's like giving a mad scientist an extra week to just come up with something, and he will. The Colts and the Chiefs, like we said. The Rams. Who is the Rams playing?
That's a great question. I was actually just wondering that myself.
Because you have the Saints also playing.
Saints have the Eagles, and the Rams get the Cowboys.
The Eagles are a 9-point underdog against New Orleans. You want any of that?
No.
Hell no.
No. Saints haven't been all that consistent this year, but at home, they have been. So, yeah. Nah, Eagles are in trouble.
Yeah, I don't see the Eagles scoring that many points against them, and I see the Saints scoring quite a few. Unless they score just enough to win, just to keep everything hidden.
Maybe.
Clemson made it back home. They gave all their little midnight speeches off the bus. Hey, everybody. Sunshine. Ronnie Bass. Trevor Lawrence, quarterback. Yeah, I can't look at him without thinking Sunshine.
No.
From the movie.
I think that's impossible.
If you're not catching up, picking up what we're talking about. Remember the Titans? Quarterback, Ronnie Bass, showed up. He had to get a haircut, though.
Did you see that?
Made him get his haircut, remember?
I did. I do remember that, yeah. Did you see the Titans do that dance this year on a celebration?
No.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans?
They did, yeah.
They did the Remember the Titans dance?
Oh, yeah. They were coming off the field, all of them.
Oh, no way.
It was fantastic. Yeah, I'll see if I can't pull it up and play it for you during break.
God, that is awesome.
It was pretty good.
I hate to have missed that. How can that not have been a huge deal? That has to be one of the top 10 highlights of the year.
It should have been. Absolutely. I agree.
We got to take a break. We got a lot coming up today. Colin Hartman's on the show. Looking forward to talking to Colin. Matt Weaver also, Peegs.com. In the next hour, we're going to talk who's going to be Indiana's next offensive coordinator. We'll talk about that as well. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat back right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
All my friends know the low rider.
Oh, it's so good to hear that. It's been a while. You know that means Chronic Hoosiers along for the ride. How is it, my brother?
Man, it feels like we ain't talked in a year.
I swear it's been too long. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all of that good stuff to you and your family.
Appreciate it. Same to you, good sir.
Thank you, sir. Lots going on in the world of the Hoosier Nation. Women having a fine time at it. One loss on the season, unbelievably to Grambling of all people, but just recently knock off number 15 Michigan State and hitting the top 25 for the first time this season, 5th time in school history.
Coach Morin's got those girls cooking right now. They've got an absolute unit put together. Excited to see where this season goes for IU. Obviously, the rankings are important. I think from a symbolic standpoint, you can certainly make a case they deserve to be ranked now for several weeks after receiving votes. I think one of the challenges is when you look at the women's game compared to the men's. These are polls voted on by writers. There's not a lot of exposure to the women's game. Very rarely do you see them on national television. At best, you're going to catch them on localized networks like the Big Ten, subscription-based services, where the vast majority of the voting population is not watching these games. They're maybe looking at box scores. For those that are paying attention, they've clearly had a case to be ranked for some time now. So glad to see that finally come to fruition at the end of the day, though, too. I think the goal is not to be ranked in January for Coach Morin. Rather, it's to continue to stake their claim for an NC2A bid and just see how far these guys can go.
Absolutely. Coach Dave texted in because I mentioned that unbelievably, after having the two best players in the program's history at the same time, Amanda Cahill and Tyra Buss last year, that this team has actually gotten better without them, which that's not because they weren't great, but I was wondering if it's been allowed to allow some of these other players flourish. And Coach Dave texted in that you have to remember that last year Allie Patberg and Bree Wise were sitting out as transfers, and they've stepped in right in to fill those gaps. It would have been amazing to see them all play together. My God, how good would they have been?
I can't even fathom. It just would have been unreal. Timing obviously didn't work out for Coach Moore as far as putting together that super team. But what I think it did is you look at Buss and Cahill and the foundation they laid for the program, the standard that they set, and that Coach Moore has established since she's taken over here. There's big things in store for this team for a long time, not the least of which when you see Indiana attracting the top talent from the home state, from the region. This is on par with what the men's goal's always been, and now you see the women starting to actualize it. And with the depth of talent that we have, both locally and regionally, bright things in store for the program if they can keep this going. And it certainly doesn't show any signs of abating anytime soon.
Absolutely. On the men's side, things are going pretty well. Unfortunately, not a good result over the weekend in Ann Arbor, but somewhat to be expected. But then it's still, again, they're dealing with the same issues, and it's been everyone talking about getting off to this horrifically bad start. Even Archie addressed it last night on his show, and he talked about basically doing some things different. And it almost sounded like that he feels like they need to almost go to set plays to start the game just to make sure that we're doing what we want to be doing here and imposing ourselves the way we want to and not going out there kind of haphazardly as they have been.
Yeah, I am at a loss right now to understand exactly what's going on with this team start. The best analogy I can come up with is whatever is causing the free throw issues with this team, which is slightly abated as well. I cannot for the life of me understand what it is about that second media timeout that wakes these boys up and really gets them in gear and ready to play basketball. And I think it's comprehensive, whatever the issue is, because you're seeing it affecting them on both sides of the floor right now. Their inability to get anything going on offense, their inability to get stops. They just look like a completely different team until about that 8-10 minute mark, and it's just I'm dumbfounded by it. I absolutely don't understand. I was going back looking at the box score play-by-play. Indiana outplayed Michigan after the 7-minute mark in the first half. Well, 13-minute mark rather in the first half. And that even includes where they stretched the lead from 13 up to, I believe, 19 at one point early there in the first. Whatever it is, it's systemic to a man, and it's been persistent throughout the season. With the exception of but a few games, this has been something that's plagued them year-round. I don't know what it is, but I think, like the free throws, there's something in this team's psyche. There's something in their mentality that they're tripping on early on. You see them tripping at the free throw line. You see them tripping across the floor to start the games. And I'm certainly not a sports psychologist, but I'd love to hear one's opinion on it because this is something Archie's absolutely going to have to figure out. When you look at the Big Ten schedule ahead for Indiana, obviously playing Michigan at Chrysler, number 2 team in the nation, one of the best defending teams in the country. As we saw, they can certainly pour it on offensively. Well, we only get them one other time, and that's going to be back at Assembly Hall. You got 17 games remaining, all but 2 of which Pomeroy is projecting to be within 2 possessions. So when you look at the margin of error for a team that just struggles so mightily to get out of the gates, that could be foreboding for Indiana's chances. I think most people would still agree Indiana should be playing somewhere for the top of the league. Obviously, it appears that Michigan State are the class of league, just a couple games into the conference schedule. But if Indiana's really going to secure a strong seed line, if Indiana's going to put themselves in a position to compete for a conference title in the back half, they're going to have to figure this out. They're going to have to figure it out soon because with so many good teams in this league and so many incredibly tight games ahead, they're just not going to have the ability to just waste away the first 8 minutes and expect to just be able to turn it on and pull even when winning time comes late.
Yeah, it's almost reminiscent a little of AAU-type basketball, which I'm not saying that that's what they're playing. It's just that the start, it's like I don't get it either. I don't understand how you don't come out of the locker room fired up, ready to go, and especially in a league game against the number 2 team in the country. But I know Archie is working on getting that rectified, and I could tell he was angry after that game in the press conference. He was pissed off. I could tell. He just, in the way he answered every question, he was pissed off. He's not happy. He's not happy with the team right now, and I think he's going to make some changes. I think he's going to get on their ass, basically. They've got to get a little fired up. They've got to take it upon themselves to come out and want to play from the first bell.
Yeah, and I've had a couple of some of my basketball friends in coaching. They commented over the last several games how tight Indiana starts the games. They're not playing very loose. The ball's not moving very freely. A lot of uncharacteristic mistakes on offense. Defensively, it's almost like they're playing the opposite, like they're too loose on defense to start. And it's the weirdest combination when you see them going out there from one end of the floor to the other to start the game. And I'm not exactly sure what's causing it. And that's where you run into this catch-22. If it's tight on offense and these guys are on edge because they know they're not doing what the coach wants, who knows what buttons Archie's going to have to push in order to rectify these things. But I think the most problematic thing is when you look at their inability to defend early on in a road environment like that. And that's the one thing for a team that's defensively minded as Indiana that's got to translate across all courts, no matter where they're playing. They've got to be able to come out and play their brand of defense, and that's not something we saw anywhere close to at Michigan. And for that matter, we've seen that in the 3 road losses so far. If there's one common theme, the defense just wasn't up to par to begin the game to really set the tone. Because no matter whether the offense is really firing all cylinders early on, the defense is going to be what has to keep them in the game. And obviously in Michigan, the way they defended to start the game, they never really threatened. Even once they kind of got, quote unquote, back in it, they never really threatened, even though the score got within single digits a couple times. And that's solely attributable to that opening, 2 media timeout periods up front. Once that had concluded, the defense had basically conceded the game for Indiana.
Yeah, and I also think that the point guard is critical to this. Not having Rob Phinisee to run this offense, to keep it running smoothly, I think it's been very noticeable here of late. They've been kind of jagged, for lack of a better word. And I think getting him back, and I think that he'll play Friday, hopefully. And I think that's going to help a lot, settle them down a little bit. But even when he was in there, they still weren't starting great. But I think part of that is him still growing into that role. He's going to have to become a leader, a de facto leader on that court. Someone has really got, I know they have Juwan Morgan and Romeo, but that's their 2 leading scorers. I don't know that they're really leading this team on the floor, and I think that you need a floor general to do that, and I hope that Phinisee can develop into that.
No, unquestionably, and I think it actually exemplifies a couple glaring deficiencies with this team. Leadership in handling the ball, bringing the ball up court. Obviously, Rob's absence has been sorely missed at the point guard spot, but I think what also has been exposed in this period with he's sitting down is just how few shooters this team has, how many guys it can rely on. And not even just rely on, how many guys out there have the confidence to take that open shot? There were a number of periods, particularly when Romeo and Juwan were saddled early with foul trouble, where you saw the ball moving around and guys just passing up wide open shots. I think I can recall at least 5 instances where it swung out to Zach, in between the wing and the high elbow, and he barely even looked at the goal before he just swung it. Continue to keep the ball swinging. It cannot. You cannot have guys out there who, when given a wide open shot, considering what Michigan's doing to you everywhere else on defense, not even attempt it. And in that regard, I think it's probably safe to say Rob's probably this team's second best deep option right now on any given night. I know Juwan's trying to assert himself with the 3-point shot, but Rob is probably Archie's second best option short of Romeo when that ball comes to him in those spots to take it. And to see guys who are not only unable but unwilling to even attempt it. I mean, Evan Fitzner chucked up a couple. He had 1 missed 3-point attempt in his 10 minutes of play. That was supposed to be his role on this team. And when he's not capable, not willing to fill that role, that's extremely problematic for Archie. And that's also an issue that could heighten, could intensify, or at least exacerbate here in the event that Romeo does decide to declare at the end of this season. there's going to have to be some guys step up. He's going to need to find some guys that have the confidence in their shot and the ability to knock it down. The other thing I want to add there, too, is talking about leadership. Looking at Juwan and his early foul troubles, this is a guy who's going to go down as probably one of the all-time greats in Indiana history. His records are going to bear it out true by the end of the season. You cannot lead this team, and this team needs his leadership so incredibly bad by sitting on the bench. He's got to figure out a way to stay on the floor. I believe he comes out there and he's trying to set the tone for the rest of the team. He's trying to send messages to the opponents that, he's a grown-ass man and he's here to play. But some of the silly fouls that are taking him off the floor right now, we've seen it happen too many times. If he's truly going to lead this team, he's going to have to find a way to stay on the floor.
Absolutely. And then players like Evan Fitzner, who was hopefully going to be a little answer to some outside shooting woes, just hasn't developed. Indiana is devoid of outside shooting, which is not a huge secret, but I thought that he was going to provide some help in that regard, and he just doesn't seem to be looking for his shot anymore, even when he's in there.
No, not at all. And, I absolutely love the kid's game, but there's certainly a case to be made here, too, that Al Durham's going to have to find a more assertive role in this offense, to get 32 minutes and only take 5 field goals, only get to the line twice. Al does a lot of things for this team defensively. He's generally pretty solid with the ball. He's making some really strong decisions for a player of his age, thrust in the position that he is. But if you're going to be drawing that many minutes on this team, especially in those windows when your stars are sitting, he's got to find a way to assert himself more in the game. And I think this is probably a product of the injury situation as well, at least in some part. When you've got so many pieces that have been removed for so long, guys are constantly having to be put out of position, having to assume new roles, both offensively and defensively. And I think there's a lot there, too, as well, what's being asked of these guys defensively and perhaps what that forces them to sacrifice on the offensive end, even if it's just from an energy reserve standpoint. They're going to have to figure it out. They're going to have to figure it out soon because it's not going to let up anytime between now and the end of the season. I mean, we only get Rutgers a couple times. We got Illinois one additional time. Other than that, there's no free passes for these guys anymore. January is truly a time for these guys to have to grow up and gel to whatever it is their potential is going to be. It's time to start striving towards it because once February comes, it's going to be pretty tough. I mean, obviously, Indiana's schedule lets up just a little bit as far as the home and away. Not that the level of competition drops particularly, but it's going to be time to figure out who's doing what and how to do it as best they can. I still, by all means, think an NCAA bid is soundly in their pocket at this point, but there's nothing guaranteed. Like I said, you got 17 games left. It's time to stake your claim and just see how high up the seed line they can go.
Absolutely, because their next test is on the road again at a formidable opponent as they take on the Maryland Terrapins Friday. And Maryland's a very good team. They're not ranked right now. They should be. They're a top 25 team. They're just one of the Big Ten's gauntlet of teams that are really top 25 teams. 10 teams, 9 teams from the Big Ten receiving votes in this week's AP Top 25 poll. Not all 9 are in the top 25, obviously, but because they're that churn at the bottom. But there are 5. How many, Justin? Was it 5 or 6?
6, I believe. 6
consecutive teams in the receiving votes category in the poll this week. 6. That's crazy.
No, it's bonkers. This is, obviously Michigan's, like we said, Michigan State's clearly class of the league. But when you look at the depth in the middle of this league, this is probably as strong as we've seen the Big Ten. Perhaps ever, honestly. I'd love to do a deep dive statistically and just see last time the conference was this strong top to bottom. It's brutal, man. This is absolutely it's the best basketball conference in the country right now. A lot of tough environments to play in, Maryland not the least of which on a Friday night here. It's going to be a big test for Indiana. You'd certainly hate to see them slip to 1-4 on the road on the season. They've got the experience now. They've just got to capitalize on it, learn from the lessons past, and forge a way forward because we've still got quite a few road games to go. You'd love to see them undefeated at home, but if you're going to have a chance to compete in this league, you're going to have to steal some in other guys' gyms.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Chronic, thank you so much. It was great to hear from you again. Look forward to it. Hopefully it won't be so long next time.
Hey, glad to be back. Ready to see what the new year has in store for us, fellas. Looking forward to it.
Thank you, sir. Chronic Hoosier. We appreciate it, brother. Look forward to it. And you got a new episode of Banners yet? We already lost him. Oh, well. Look for Mind Your Banners with Chronic Hoosier and Zach Osterman. Yeah, we lost him there too soon, but a lot of big program today. Matt Weaver from Peaks.com's on. We're going to talk about the Indiana offensive coordinator position. Colin Hartman's on the show as well. Stay tuned. We got all that and more coming back here on Indiana Sports Beat right after this break. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. This hour of Indiana Sports Beat is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. With hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer. That takes me back to high school. Boy, talk about dating yourself.
That's what I was going for.
Thanks a lot. A lot of action on the hardwood last night, tonight. Last night, a lot of ranked teams.
Yeah.
One of my favorite, number 19, Buffalo. They're back on the winning side. They put up 110 points last night against Toledo, but they won 110-80. High scoring. Mentioned earlier, Michigan State all over Purdue, 77-59. Number 8, Oklahoma, and number 23, Oklahoma State went at it last night. A good game, 66-59. The Sooners win that one. Number 1, Duke was in action. They beat Duke or Wake Forest last night easily. Tennessee, the same over Missouri. Number 3, Tennessee. Number 18, Kentucky, 9-point winner over Texas A&M at home. And number 24, St. John's into the top 25, but not for long. They lose to Villanova 76-71.
Same thing with Iowa State, who they put in, who beat Kansas. They got beat by Baylor last night.
I missed that one.
Yeah. Well, you go back, revisit that Oklahoma game.
What happened? Talk to me. Let's just get it out here.
You said Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. I don't know what you were reading. Texas Tech, number 8.
Oh, yeah.
Played Oklahoma and beat them.
There you go. Just wrote it wrong, down incorrectly. Texas Tech, Red Raiders. They got another good squad this year, man.
Yep.
Then tonight, a lot of ranked teams in action tonight. In the Big Ten, you've got Ohio State. They're at home. I think they're at home. They're taking on Rutgers.
Road.
They're on the road at Rutgers. That won't matter much.
No.
Number 9, Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech go at it. Number 11, Auburn takes on Ole Miss. Number 17, Houston, undefeated Houston, coached by Kelvin Sampson. They got Temple tonight. Number 21, Marquette. They're taking on Creighton. Number 4, Virginia's in action at Boston College, TCU, and Kansas. There's probably the best game of the night. Number 25, Texas Christian, and number 7, Kansas. Kansas, the first game after finding out that Azubuike, the big boy, he gone.
Yeah, that's a huge hit.
Oh, my. Look what happened to him in their last game. Their first game without him, they lose by 17. Yep. They got drilled. Now, I know they're going to come back from that, but thank God and they're without Souza, who, didn't receive any money or anything. Like it was the mother that kept coming out going, you all just wait. You just wait till the facts come out. Oh, I'm sorry. My son's not going to go to school. Apparently he took some money. Craziness. Florida State's in action tonight. They're number 13. And number 10, Nevada, coming off their first loss. They were undefeated. They're number 10. Indiana in action Friday night. They have a weird schedule, man, and I'm not digging it. They play Friday, Monday. What the hell?
Hate it.
I don't like either one of those days for college basketball. First of all, Friday nights are for high schools, Big Ten. Get over it. Give me a break with this.
Well, and we heard Archie a little bit talk about that in terms of recruiting in the season. You can't go recruit guys in the season if you're playing on Friday.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it is a disadvantage because when the other teams aren't playing, they're out recruiting. And when you're playing, your recruits can't watch you because they're playing. Yeah. It's ridiculous. I just, come on, Big Ten. Gee whiz, they do it on football, and that's sacrilege. That's horrific doing it in football because that is the night for high school football is Friday. But Friday's a big night in high school basketball, too.
Yeah.
Gee whiz, you got 6-7 days. You can't let them have one? You took Friday. Saturday. Give them Friday. Give them one daggone day. You got everything else. You got Big Monday. You got Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday. And soon you will own Sundays again. Yep. When the NFL gives it back to you.
No, Indiana just played on Sunday.
Well, I know. I'm just saying they'll own Sundays once the NFL ends because there will be nothing else to watch. But right now, the NFL is still in action. Well, they got 2 more weeks of weekend games.
Yes. Yep.
And then that's it.
That's it.
And then
Super Bowl bound.
2.5 more months of solid college basketball. But Indiana goes on the road again Friday as they take on the Maryland Terrapins. That ought to be a hell of a game. Another tough matchup. But there's not a lot of matchups in the Big Ten this year that aren't tough.
No.
I think there are 10 teams receiving votes in the top 25 right now. How many did we count in a row?
There were 6 receiving votes in a row.
That blows my – that has to be a record. I don't know that has ever happened in the history of the AP Top 10. 6. That's nearly half the conference.
Yep.
And how many are ranked? 3?
4.
4.
So 10 out of 14, either ranked or receiving votes.
Tough road to hoe, baby.
And Archie was actually asked that on the coaches show on Monday night, just how strong the Big Ten is and how tough of a battle it's going to be night in and night out. Let me unmute it.
Good. I mean, you're looking at, I think, upwards close to 10 teams, maybe potentially in the NCAA tournament. I was talking to Clark Kellogg before the game yesterday, and he said he thinks this is the best top to bottom that the Big Ten's been in 15 years. And I think if you look at the league right now, you look at this tremendous depth. Yep. I mean, when you start to say to yourself, hey, well, you got a back-to-back, but then you're going to come back home, but it's Michigan. Yeah, I'm going to go on the road and play, Wisconsin or Iowa, and then, hey, when we come back, we get 2 more. Yeah, but you got Michigan State and Ohio State. And you're looking down the barrel, quite frankly, of teams that have aspirations to, compete for, obviously, the league championship, but also aspirations to play deep in March. And, that's going to prepare you or us or however you want to say it to be able to play against anybody at any time, when the time calls. And, for us, and I think every team in this league, you just got to take it day by day. You can't get overwhelmed by the depth of the schedule. You just have to concentrate on what's in front of you and then get better from it and then go to the next one. Because if you start to look down the line, I mean, you can really play some mind games with yourself in terms of just being positive, so to speak. It's going to be there's going to be some rough waters. I mean, you're just going to have to navigate through them and find a way to keep getting better. And I think the teams that have that approach usually towards the end of the season, continue to want to play. They continue to want to be in the gym. They want to practice. They want to compete to play the next great opponent. So, but it's definitely, in my opinion, the deepest league in the country right now. I think our non-conference did such a good job from the league overall that it set us up for success for the NCAA tournament. And I think there's a few teams in this league that quite frankly, probably can see themselves having a chance to maybe win it all.
Yeah, that's about it. It's crazy time.
Going to be fun.
Hey, you want to bet on who the next Heisman Trophy winner will be next year? The odds are out.
I don't know that we need to do all that.
Yeah, I don't either.
Can we just
Good
name
call.
him?
Well, he is at the top of the list. There he is, Sunshine himself, Ronnie Bass. No, Trevor Lawrence from Clemson sits at the top. Bovada has released their odds for the 2019 Heisman Trophy winner. Of course, Trevor Lawrence, quarterback for Clemson, sits at the top, right in front of Tua.
What are his odds?
It's a plus 300.
Okay.
They're not giving odds.
And how about Tua?
Plus 350.
I kind of like Tua in that spot.
Well, would this be amazing? Next year's going to be Tua's last year.
Sure.
This is how difficult it is to win the Heisman Trophy. Tua Tagovailoa is not going to win a Heisman Trophy.
Hey, that was pretty good.
Yeah, not just if you don't think about it, I think he's not going to win a Heisman Trophy. Maybe the best quarterback ever at Alabama, one of the best programs ever in college football. I mean, he's not going to win a Heisman. I mean, unless something happens next year to Trevor Lawrence, which things change, as we know. There could be a Lamar Jackson sitting there somewhere that we don't even know about. Because I promise you, Lamar Jackson was not on the Heisman list when the season ended in 2015. Or when did he win it, 16?
I think it was 16, yeah.
He was not on the list in 15. No one was thinking Lamar Jackson for Heisman. But the top three, Lawrence, Tagovailoa, and Fromm, gee whiz, that's a pretty good top three right there.
I know Jake Fromm's only going to be a junior, but my gosh, seems like he's been at Georgia for forever.
Well, next year will be his last year because he'll be a junior and he can go to the NFL after that.
Like, you get all these big schools that get freshman quarterbacks that come in and they're really, really good.
Taylor's plus 900. You know who sits it right below him at plus 950?
Who's that?
Etienne, the running back from
Etienne, yeah.
Etienne, the running back from Clemson.
Was that Jonathan Taylor?
You know what? I don't know.
It's got to be. Wisconsin's running back?
I would think because he's been up there every year for the last
I think he ran for 2,000 yards this year.
Oh, that's nothing.
Piece of cake.
Ah, man, that didn't get – Tevin Coleman didn't even get an invite to the Heisman Trophy after being only the 18th person ever to rush for 2,000 yards. Don't get me started on that. That still aggravates me. It's crap. But, yeah, that's there you go. There's the Heisman race for next season.
Bet accordingly.
Yeah, that's – I think it's going to be something. And guess who's way down the list? I forgot to mention.
Stevie Scott?
Jalen Hurts.
Is he? That's interesting.
That's got to be a first.
Wonder if they're expecting...
A team that has their first and second quarterback on the Heisman list. That's crazy.
Joker texts in and says, might be a boy named Tuttle win the Heisman.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I like that. Well, that all depends on who his offensive coordinator is going to be, on how well anybody in Indiana does, whether it's a boy named Tuttle or a boy named Penix. I can tell you who it won't be.
A boy named Ramsey.
Sorry, but yeah, that's going to be interesting, man. That's going to be an interesting deal between Penix and Tuttle. Two different quarterbacks. The fact that he's not even really a freshman. He is, but he's not. You know, he has a season of college under, at least practice under his belt. So, and the sports has changed unbelievably. The youth movement, it still boggles my mind. How these guys that we just watched the national championship game in football, in which both quarterbacks were just 1 and 2 years removed from playing in high school. And now, I mean, Tua did it last year. Tua did the same exact thing last year as Trevor Lawrence was doing this year. Both of those blow my mind equally. These are kids that were playing in high school the year before, and a year later, they're playing on the biggest stage for the biggest prize at the second highest level in all of football. Mind-boggling. How kids that are that young are mature enough to handle that, the mental maturity it takes to handle that, the physical maturity it takes to handle that, it boggles my mind. I remember being a senior in high school, and I was an idiot. Well, I'm still an idiot, but I can't. It just blows me away and what it must take to be able to handle those situations and to do the things that they're doing. It's wild.
Well, and it's a far cry from the late 80s, early 90s, even the middle 90s and late 90s, where if you're a freshman going in to play football, you're not likely going to see the field because you're just not ready. But, yeah, it speaks to what you were talking about. The guys they're coming in more ready now for whatever reason that may be, and you're seeing the youth movement. It's kind of running college football. I mean, no longer do you have the 5-year guys who are running the show for their respective teams. Now it's the young guys. It's been a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And what's the same, not just football. I mean, it's basketball.
Basketball too, yep.
The one and dones have just been the topic of conversation for the last few years. How do these guys come out of high school and go right to the NBA? I mean, they're not, but right now they've had a year in between. But it didn't used to be that way, that there were so many, I don't think. Well, it wasn't. It's just everything's bigger now. Everything is magnified now. There's more to do. There's more events to play in. There's more ways to get better. There's more. There's training. There's trainers.
Start from an earlier age.
There's AAU. There's just 1,000 different things. Everything's year round almost now. My daughter plays soccer year round, basically. I mean, Kylie has the regular season during the school year in the fall. You get a little break, then you go into training, winter training, and you come out of winter training into spring ball. You come out of spring ball into summer, and then school starts. It's nonstop. It's a nonstop deal.
Tim texts in, asked a question, but then I think he answered his own question, so we'll discuss it. Why can't basketball be like football and players stay until they are juniors? Football players are more prone to have injuries than basketball players.
Why can't which be like
Why can't basketball be like football players and stay until they are juniors? But then he goes on to say football players are more prone to have injuries than basketball players.
I assume he means why can't they be mandated to stay? And for one, because should people be mandated not to be able to get a job in any field they like when they graduate high school? If you want to become a computer programmer at IBM, should there be a law saying, I'm sorry, son, you can't come here till you're 21. You have to be in college for 3 years before you come here.
Sure.
You know? It's a free work society. That's the biggest reason, free work. I think people get hung up on what they would like to see. You know, that goes back to the Romeo needing another year. Oh, Romeo, he needs another year in college.
So you need him to have another year.
Exactly. Hey, we're up against the break. Let's pick this back up on the other side of the break. We'll be back with more. Matt Weaver's on the show. Colin Hartman's on the show. Indiana Sports Beat's back right after this. Thanks for the text, guys. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm out on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, you want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Welcome along to Indiana Sports Beat on this 9th day of January 2019. Thanks a lot for taking us along wherever you're going, whatever you may be doing. Appreciate you taking Indiana Sports Beat along for the ride. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Justin Kalen high atop the crew chief's box.
That's right.
Got a lot to get to today. Matt Weaver from Pigs.com will join us. We'll talk some football. IU, who's going to be that next offensive coordinator. Colin Hartman's on the show today from IU basketball as well. Look forward to talking to him. Lots of scores to get to and things to talk about. Before we do that, let's get to the headlines with Justin.
All right, here are your headlines for this January 9th, 2019. 3 NFL teams have filled their head coaching vacancies as the Cardinals hire Cliff Kingsbury, Buccaneers hire Bruce Arians, and the Packers also hire Matt LaFleur as their head coach. Broncos are supposedly close to making a hire as well, expected to go down today. A couple of Big Ten games last night as Michigan State smacks Purdue 77-59. Maryland, Indiana's next opponent on Friday, wins 82-67 at Minnesota. Those are your headlines for this January 9th, 2018.
I missed that score, Maryland score. Maryland won?
They did, 82-67.
Wow. Okay. That's,
at Minnesota.
I know. That's wow, because Minnesota's coming off a road win at Wisconsin. Wow. Life in the Big Ten is just going to be
Keep
horrible.
throwing them punches, boys. Just keep throwing them punches.
But that shows you how well that Maryland is rolling right now.
Yeah, they're playing well.
That's a big win. They win by 15 on the road?
In the barn.
Golly. That's going to be a tough game Friday. Hoosiers taking on the Terrapins Friday night. That's not going to be fun. Matt Weaver's on the show today. Who's the next offensive coordinator going to be for Indiana? They're getting close. Interviews have been had. Interviews have been had with major candidates.
Candidates. I was going more for the Canada dates.
Oh, I like what you did there. Well, there's a lot of stuff going on too. There's with all these job openings. Not necessarily. I'm not even talking about the NFL. I'm talking about college. There are all kinds of openings. So there's all kinds of musical chair games going on behind the scenes. And this offensive coordinator position is tenuous because it may depend on this position getting filled over here by this team. If this guy goes here, well, he may take this guy. Or if this guy leaves, this opens that up. And there are some openings right now. There are multiple, a lot of moving parts.
Building a puzzle. We just don't know what the picture is yet.
As the dude would say, a lot of facets. certainly looking forward to finding out. I know they want to do this as soon as possible. I mean, Coach Tom Allen said there's no timeline. Bullcrap. That's coach speak. He wants it done as fast as possible for a number of reasons. Number one, for continuity. Number two, because it's January and these guys are on campus now. If they have to learn a new offense, they need to start learning now. You've got 3 quarterbacks at Indiana that don't know what offense they're going to be running next year right now. And they're just sitting there wondering. And it's not just the quarterbacks, it's everything. So I know they want to do this ASAP, and I think this will be done. I personally think it'll be done between now and Monday.
Oh, you said Monday yesterday. You can't say between now and Monday now, because I said this week.
Well, if I said Monday yesterday,
you better stick with Monday. Let me have my moment
all,
when I'm
all
right
that does
this week.
is bring it closer between now and Monday. Any time between now and Monday is what I mean.
Yeah, let's hope so, because it's not only the factors that you mentioned, but recruiting as well. I mean, you've got
recruiting's done for the season.
Well, you've got the February signing period coming up. You can still sign 5 or 6 guys in that class.
No, they're not going to sign 6 more guys.
They may.
And I don't think that anybody else they're going to sign right now is going to be dependent upon this OC. I think they got the guys that they wanted to in the positions they wanted to get. They got a quarterback. They got some other guys. Not to say what you're saying has no validity. It does, but that's why they waited until this signing period ended for the board to retire. So, but yeah, I think it'll be done between now and then. It's these other facets, I think, that are kind of holding it up right now. We'll talk to Matt. We're going to talk to Matt Weaver about it. We'll get a lot more in depth about it. He's a little closer to the situation than I am. Indiana comes up Friday with their next ball game on the road at Maryland. As I said, the women's team on the road at Ohio State, I think, on Thursday. They are 15-1, ranked number 25 in the country right now. A lot of NFL action this weekend. The Colts in action. Started off 1-5, finished the season 10-1. Thank you very much. Nice little run. Now they have to go up against that one in that 10-1 Kansas City Chiefs. That's who they play this week on the road. Barbecue and football, baby. It's a ribs and football Saturday.
You know how many Colts fans that I've seen going to the game that have asked what the best barbecue place is in Kansas City?
That is the dumbest question to ever ask. Well,
everybody's going to give you a different answer.
Yeah, there's one. There's one place. Of all the barbecue places in Kansas City, there's one. There's just one good one. The rest of them are okay. But there's only one good one. Dude, there's a billion.
One on every corner.
Yeah, they have more ribs places than New England has Dunkin' Donuts. They're everywhere. I can't imagine there's that many Colts fans going to make the game. I guess
why wouldn't there
NFL Stadium's a lot. Well, because the Chiefs have their own fans.
Yeah, but I mean, the Colts fans are going to try to go.
Well, I'm sure, but
it's not a close drive.
8 hours.
Somewhat.
Not bad.
Is it that far, really?
Yeah. It's 4 hours to St. Louis, 4 hours to Kansas City.
Jeez.
That's not that bad.
I was thinking more like 5 or 6 hours.
Hell no. It's straight highway driving. Probably jump on a Southwest flight for $49.
Come on.
Well, you used to be able to. That's the old days, I guess. A lot of we talked about all these coaches openings. The NFL galore, man, but a lot of them have been filled. Cliff Kingsbury going to the Arizona Cardinals, fired by Texas Tech. That's so funny. You're not good enough to be the coach here at Texas Tech. Hey, you're great to be the coach at Arizona. Let's move you up a notch.
Well, when you have one of your former players, Patrick Mahomes, doing what he did this year, it's a good example to be able to point to. I coached him up, guys.
What was Texas Tech thinking is what I want to know.
Let him go.
All this does is show how Texas Tech was idiotic. What happens as soon as he leaves? Boom, USC says, I'll take you. Oh, not only USC, New York, the The Jets, hey, we'd like to have you. Hey, Arizona, we'd like to have you. How dumb does that make Texas Tech look?
Pretty dumb.
Pretty damn dumb.
Tim texted in and asked, do you think recruits were informed of an offensive coordinator position change?
That's a great question.
It's a great question. Really great question.
Who asked that question?
Tim.
Good text, Tim. You know, I hadn't thought about it, but I know that Tom Allen is nothing but open and.
Well, and there hasn't been an onslaught of recruits decommit since that news came out.
Oh, there's none.
Right.
Except, well, they lost the one guy to Louisville, but that had nothing to do with that. You know what? It's a great question. I don't think that all of them were talked. It's not a reason to talk to all of them, but the ones that were pertinent, Tuttle, yeah, that conversation was had. I promise you, that conversation was had. There's no way that.
Maybe that's what got him on board.
Oh, probably was.
Hell yeah, he's gone? Cool.
I doubt that he's coming with the board here. I mean, I'm sorry, but you saw what I saw last year. So, no, I doubt he's coming if the board's going to be here. Yeah, so yes is my answer to that question. Absolutely, without doubt, that conversation was had with Jake Tuttle, if not with some of the other high-profile guys like the wide receiver from Florida. Hey, not only do we have Jake Tuttle and Michael Penix in the fold, we're going to have a new offensive coordinator, and we're going to get a guy that's very offensive-minded. I promise you that conversation was had with anybody like that in that position. So, yes, great question.
How about I can't believe we didn't bring it up yesterday, but how about Tywan Mullen? Freshman recruit for Indiana next year. His older brother, defensive player of the game for Clemson.
Yeah, and not only that, did you see Mullen in the All-Star game?
I did. The All-American game.
He killed it.
Yeah.
He was like the MVP almost. He was playing really well. Lights out. Didn't he get an interception, forced fumble?
Yep.
All kinds of. I mean, dude, the recruits that they're bringing in are legit. We got to get to a break. We got more to talk about. Colin Hartman's on the show today. Next up, Matt Weaver. We'll talk about this offensive coordinator position. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Speed is back right after this. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at IndianaSportsBeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back, Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle sitting in with you, joined now by our good friend Matt Weaver from Peaks.com. Matthew, how are you, sir?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
We're wonderful. Just enjoying our weekly visit with you. Waiting for it. Been waiting all week.
Well, I appreciate that, but I kind of feel sorry for you guys then.
Haven't heard any good jokes lately? No, I'm just kidding. A lot of going on. Everyone thinking about who's going to be the next offensive coordinator in Indiana. No hiding from that. But I know there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of pieces. There's so many job openings right now across the football landscape from the NFL down. I know that a lot of those head coaching positions were filled, Kingsbury, Arizona, Arians to Tampa Bay. Green Bay's got a new coach, which then that opens up other spots, and this assistant's going here. And it's how difficult is it to fill a position like this?
Well, I guess it depends on who your candidates are. I mean, if you're going after a candidate or candidates that is in demand, that other people want to talk to or possibly want to hire, then it can make it more difficult. And with Indiana, obviously the one name everybody's been talking about, the name that I've heard that they've reached out to, one of the names I've heard they've reached out to is Matt Canada.
Matt Canada. I've heard that name before. No, I'm just
yeah. And one of the things that's kind of come out recently is Temple obviously is looking for a coach after Manny Diaz kind of, did an about face on him, and they've reached out to Rod Carey, the coach in Northern Illinois, and kind of the word is if that job would open up, then Canada, who has has coached at Northern Illinois and has a connection there, could be a prime candidate to take over that job. So. That's one of the things that I'm sure there may be some other, programs that are looking at Canada's maybe an OC. I don't know that for sure, but that would be my guess. But I do think there's been some dialogue with Indiana, and in fact, I know there's been dialogue with Indiana, and I know that he's receptive to the position.
Well, that would certainly be a great hire for them. Obviously, we were just talking about the talent that's coming into Indiana. I mean, you've got the Florida receiver, you've got Tuttle, you've got Penix, and a great group of specialty players for whomever is able to step into this position, but it's going to be very, very important as to who steps into that position on how Indiana moves forward next year. And this is as important for Tom Allen as anything that's happened during his campaign as head coach, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's overstated to say that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, we could look back at this and say, okay, this is where Indiana kind of turned the corner as a football program and started, taking that next step and maybe, winning some of these games that they haven't been winning the last couple of years and went from a 5-7 team to 7-5, 8-4 team. Or we could say this is where they kind of basically remained in that same rut and never really got out of it. So, I think Coach Allen understands that. I think that's why, I know everybody, they want it done as soon as possible, and that would be ideal. But it's better to get it right than to get it done fast. And I think he knows that, and he's doing his due diligence. And like I said, it could be maybe Matt Canada is the favorite, and they're just kind of waiting for him to kind of sift through everything. And if he's your guy, then you try to wait as long as you can. Now, you can't wait forever, but you try to wait as long as possible, or whoever your guy may be. If you really, really want him and you believe he's the right guy, then you wait as long as you can. But at some point, you kind of, you gotta move on or find the next guy. But we're not to that point yet. I mean, they haven't. Team just came back to campus this week. You don't start recruiting until this upcoming weekend. And I really don't even think they're going to bring guys in this weekend. I don't think Indiana's going to bring visitors in until the following weekend. So you've got time. It's not, it's like I said, it's better to get it done right than to get it done quick.
Absolutely, but sooner the better, obviously, because for Indiana particularly, we're talking about an offensive coordinator who's probably going to make some changes, obviously, to the offense. So you've got the new guys that are coming in at mid-semester. Tuttle, probably one of those guys that need to learn this offense, especially, and even the guys that are there already. Penix, the guys in the running back room, everybody. If you have to learn a new offense, you want to get that started as quickly as possible.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And the one thing is with offenses, if you watch football, a lot of offenses look the same. What's different about offense to offense is what Indiana, what one offense may call a certain play, another offensive coordinator may call the exact same play something different. It's really learning that terminology. Obviously, schemes are all a little bit different, but for the most part, a certain pass route is a certain pass route. I mean, running plays, that stuff. But, yeah, getting that terminology down is definitely important. There's things that the players can still work on right now when they go out. Obviously, the coaches can't be with them when they go and they have a football and they're doing that kind of stuff. But, they go out and do kind of like 7-on-7 type stuff, run routes, quarterbacks and receivers. And obviously they're working out the strength and conditioning staff, doing that kind of thing. But, getting those playbooks, getting that terminology down, especially for, the quarterbacks, the running backs, the receivers, those positions, those skill positions, where they need to get that, they need to have that language is actually, it's got to be kind of like second nature to them. Yeah, that's important. Waiting a few days or even a week, shouldn't be a big hindrance. But like you said, the sooner the better, because it just, once you get to spring ball, you want everybody to basically, really be firing and like I said, have that language kind of be just second nature to where it's not, they're not still trying to learn it.
Let's say, for argument's sake, Matt Canada gets the job at Indiana. He ends up being the offensive coordinator. What changes from what you know about his offense, what he ran at Maryland and before, but what changes would there be to the Indiana offense? I don't remember him using a lot of tempo because he was more of a running game. But so Indiana's been using a lot of tempo in the last several years with Kevin Wilson. Not so much under Allen. They did, but they didn't. They were the slowest up-tempo team I think I've ever seen under Allen. But what changes do you anticipate if, say, Matt Canada were to get the job?
Well, I do. Coach Allen has said that he liked him, and we were both in there when he introduced Kane Womack, and he answered some questions about the OC position. And I think, tempo to me, it doesn't necessarily mean playing. I know Kevin Wilson would really get going fast, and at times Indiana under Mike DeBoer would. They weren't. I don't think they. It seemed like when he came in, they were actually playing faster than Kevin Wilson did, but it didn't really translate to the field. but at times they did play with tempo. I think that will be important. I think Canada's his offenses in the past have had the ability to play with tempo. Almost any kind of spread team anymore can play with tempo. The biggest thing, obviously, you see with him is he does a lot of shifts, jet sweeps. So stuff like that is probably where people are. There's a lot of pre-snap movement. I would assume that would be part of his offense if he came to Indiana. And with guys like Walt Fillior, assume Reese Taylor will be on offense. Some of the guys they brought in, like a David Ellis, who signed, Deshaun Brown, guys like that who in high school were quarterbacks or play with the ball in their hands and have that dynamic playmaking ability. It could be fun to watch. It could be, it could really kind of open some things up for Indiana's offense. But he's also coached, he coached at Pittsburgh a couple years ago, only program offense in that season that scored 28 every week. I mean, they were really, really good. And Nathan Peterman, who's obviously not been, he made him a really good quarterback. He basically made him an NFL quarterback, coached Jacoby Brissett at NC State, who's now with the Colts. So he's used different kind of, and then obviously the Maryland quarterbacks this year aren't pro-style quarterbacks. So what I like about Canada's offense, he can adjust it to what his personnel is. He can play more of a pro-style or, more of a passing game type offense, or he can have one where it's more of a running style offense. And to me, that's really valuable because I think Indiana's quarterbacks are all pretty much the same. Obviously, some are better talented than the others, but for what they want to do, he can fit his offense to those pieces, and I think it could be pretty dynamic.
Texter of the show, Matt, Justin Kalen here, as Tim texted in and asked, North Texas coach Seth Littrell, I hear, was interviewed. He had a top 20 air attack with his offense, which would be appealing.
Is he interviewed for the Indiana OC job? Is that what the question was?
Yeah, that's what Tim said he heard. Yeah.
If he interviewed for the OC job, that would be a great hire. I'd be very surprised if that happened because he's a head coach. I would think it would be more plausible that his OC, Graham Harrell, who's a disciple of Mike Leach, and that kind of air raid offense, I could see him possibly have been interviewed. And to me, that would be another intriguing name, especially when you've got the passing talents of Michael Penix and a Jack Tuttle on your roster, and you've got some receivers who can really go up and get the ball. That to me would be a really intriguing name, Graham Harrell, because I think he's a really, really bright young coach. I think he's one of these guys that 3, 4, 5 years is going to be a head coach somewhere, and he's going to be doing big things. So I would be pretty surprised if Littrell, because he's a head coach, would take a step back. But I could see it being Graham Harrell, and to me that would be a quality hire.
I think it's Graham Harrell. I think I've heard that name before, but. And you bring up a great point talking about the weapons that a coach like that would have throwing the ball, and then they also have weapons that, say, for Matt Canada, who's excelled in the running game last year, but he can do it either. I know that. But Indiana has a lot to offer an OC, whether it's a great stable of running backs. They have a hell of a running back room and a great quarterback room and a great receivers room. They have a lot of good pieces and parts to offer an OC.
Yeah, and then it also the biggest thing, for me, if I'm an OC, that stuff's important. But I also want to be like, what do you guys got up front? Kevin Wilson always used to say, you can only run what you can block. He said you could have the greatest scheme in the world, but if your guys can't block it up front, it doesn't really matter. And I think even though they've lost some linemen, I think they've got some guys back. I think I feel pretty good about 4 of the 5 O-line positions. The one that I'm interested to see in spring ball is who kind of emerges, who's the right tackle. Assuming, let's assume, maybe it's Caleb Jones, or if he's at left tackle, do you move Kronk down inside, Coy Kronk, or do you flip him over to the right side? But you got Hunter Littlejohn, Simon Stepniak, Harry Kreider back, Mackenzie Nora, who's played some. And I like some of the young guys they brought in, and obviously guys you redshirted last year, Aiden Rafferty, Nick Moroza. So to me, the skill players, you've got those. The biggest key is how they recruit on the O-line, and I think they've recruited well on the O-line. So if I was an OC, to me, it's a really intriguing. The other thing is, Tom Allen said it. You're going to be the head coach of the offense. He's going to let you do your thing. Now, obviously, if you're not producing, then he knows he's probably going to have some issues. But he's going to give you the freedom to run the offense the way you want to run it. Within his framework and his vision. But I mean, from the way he wants his offense to be, I think it'd be appealing to any guy out there who a candidate for this job. You're going to have the freedom to basically run your side of the ball and not have somebody meddle in what you're doing. And to me, I don't know what more you could ask for as a coordinator.
No, and not only that, like I said, I think this offense could be pretty prolific next year with the right guy leading it. They have a lot of parts and a lot of pieces. You know better than I do. How productive could this offense be with the right guy at the helm?
I think it could be. I think it could be very productive. And I mean, you don't want to go back and rehash and throw people under the bus, but it was too conservative. I mean, we saw that all year, and some of that was probably personnel, and we've talked about this and beaten this horse to death, but we both feel the same way. Michael Penix should have gotten more snaps early on. I mean, whether he was a starter or not, I thought he should have been playing a lot more early on. It would have opened things up. We saw it against Penn State. It was a very small sample size, but literally in a few possessions, he completely changed the way Penn State was playing Indiana defensively. And I think that should have happened early on. So that's a big change right there. Now you've got a couple guys in him and Jack Tuttle, who can do things. And Peyton Ramsey works hard. He's a great kid, but there's just certain things he can't do. That's just a fact. And with Penix and Tuttle, they can make throws. They can do things. You can run certain plays that really affect and impact the way a defense lines up against you. And then if you bring in a play caller you can incorporate a Walt Philyor or a Reese Taylor. Some of these other guys get the ball outside to Nick Westbrook, Donovan Hale, Ty Freifogel. Miles Marshall's a guy they like. If Daquan Green, the Florida transfer, does make it in and is eligible this year, there's another weapon right there. So they've got guys tight end. They've got some weapons. So there's a lot of toys for an offensive coordinator to play with if he and be creative with if whoever that is at Indiana.
Well, we look forward to finding out, hopefully, the next time we talk, that we'll know the answer to this. I think that we will. We may talk sooner than our next scheduled session. But, Matt, thanks a lot. We appreciate it, brother.
Okay, thanks, guys. Have a great week.
Thank you, Matt Weaver from Peegs.com. Make sure you follow him. For all your Hoosier football news, we've got a lot more coming up. Colin Hartman, former Hoosier player, on the show next. Stay tuned. Indiana Sports Beat's back right after this break. This is Jim Coyle. When I'm not on the road covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 on the northeast side of I-65 at Veterans Parkway in Clarksville. Bring the team in for that post-win meal in the family dining area or just meet friends for a happy hour. Bubba's has bold burgers, hand-tossed pizzas, mouth-watering wings, and a list of select local craft brewers for the coldest beer in town. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Burgers, pizza, beer.
Many medicines used to treat colds and flu contain acetaminophen, a pain reliever and fever reducer found in hundreds of over-the-counter and prescription medicines. But taking too much or more than one medication containing acetaminophen per day can damage your liver. So always read the label and don't take acetaminophen if you drink 3 or more alcoholic drinks every day. To learn more, visit fda.gov/OTC pain info. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Food and Drug Administration.
If you're a homeowner and have storm damage to your roof, you want a hometown contractor you can count on and trust. Brooks Roofing of New Albany has been doing quality work since 2006. Check out their work for yourself at brooksroofingin.com. No job is too big or too small, commercial or residential. Brooks Roofing is probably working in your neighborhood right now. Visit brooksroofingin.com or call 812-868-ROOF. That's 812-868-ROOF. Brooks Roofing, the protection you need when nature strikes.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
All right, crew, let's get her dug.
Honey, want to give me a hand? I'm planting that tree, remember?
No matter how large or small your digging project may be, no matter how urban or rural, you must always call 811 before any digging project. 811 is our national one-call number, alerting your local utility companies to come out and mark any lines they have near your dig site. You must call 811 at least 2 to 3 business days before any digging project, so you can avoid hitting our essential buried utilities. This includes natural gas and petroleum pipelines, electric, communication cables, and water and sewer lines. So before you do this or this, make sure you do this. For digging projects big or small, make the call to 811. Brought to you by Common Ground Alliance.
If you want to get your day off to a good start, then stop at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs. While you're filling your gas tank, you could fill your own tank with a hot breakfast or try one of Billy Joe's daily lunch special. Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart opens at 5 a.m. and everything is made fresh daily. And if you bring your own mug, coffee is only 50 cents. And Billy Joe's also has free air. The best place to start your day is at Billy Joe's Gas and Food Mart on Highway 150 in Floyd's Knobs.
If you want the most comprehensive coverage of the Indiana Hoosiers, you need Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. Join us each Monday through Friday for interviews with the players and playmakers. Weekly guests like Don Fisher, Terry Hutchins, and Chronic Hoosier. We've got live reports from each game. No one gives you better coverage of Indiana athletics. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle is available on iTunes and Google Play. You can follow us on Facebook or at indianasportsbeat.com. Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle. We don't miss a beat. Today's guest is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville with hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer. Pizza, burgers, beer. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Jim Coyle sitting in with you as always. Joined now, luckily, by Colin Hartman, former Hoosier great. Colin, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing this morning?
Great, great. How are things going with you?
Going all right. Just getting my day started and transitioning into the real world and figuring out how much I miss basketball.
You know, it's funny. We do a lot of stuff with Mitchell Page, who played football for Indiana, and he was just coming back from Europe, and he's doing the same thing, getting integrated back into the real world. He talks about and how he misses football and the guys. How hard of an adjustment is that truly? Because that's something you did all your life. That was so much a part of your life. And now to make this transition into a different chapter, what's that like?
It's completely different. Sports, and especially at the collegiate level, is a grind every single day. It's really labor intensive because you're doing more physical activity than I'm doing now. But it's you don't. I think the thing that I miss the most, and I think Mitchell would probably agree with this, and most college athletes would, is basically the camaraderie in the locker room. Being able to have a group of guys that you're with every day and joke around with and get to know super, super well, and nobody's in it for the wrong reasons. Nobody's in it for like business or networking or anything like that. It's just you're all there for the same reason, and you're all friends, and you're gonna have disagreements, but at the end of the day, that's the thing I miss the most. It's probably just being in the locker room every day and being able to have those conversations and joke around and just build those relationships. You get it a little bit in business and stuff of that nature, but it's just not the same completely.
Yeah, it seems like across the board, no matter what level of what sport you're talking about, everybody says that. There's nothing. It's the wins and the losses, but it's the wins and the losses with these people that you are investing your life in, and they're investing their life in. So it's a big deal for people. I don't know if people really understand that it's more than a game, because you're investing a part of your life with a group of people who are doing the same thing, and that's a big deal no matter what it is.
Right, exactly.
And now you're also doing some work with Steve Risley, a former Hoosier as well, played on the 81 National Championship team. You guys do a show each week on basketball, and then a post-game show each week as well, or each game.
Yeah, so we do, it's called Indiana Basketball Weekly on the GrillingTruth.net. It's really, really fun to have Steve's view and kind of old school view of things. Really old school view of things.
I know he's going to listen to this, and I can't wait for him to hear that part.
Oh, he'll love that. But yeah, I mean, he had the Coach Knight era, and with Isaiah Thomas, and you get to kind of see that background of things. And then from my side of things, more obviously modern era with having played with Yogi and Coach Crean and Coach Miller now, and it's a good mix of different views and different opinions, and we agree on some things we don't.
Yeah, Steve wanted me to ask you, who is your favorite coach of all time? And
My favorite coach.
The reason I asked that is because I know that he was one of your coaches way back in the day for AAU or something.
I plead the fifth.
That's a smart answer. I was talking to him last night, as a matter of fact, but we were having this conversation. I'm like, well, that put him in a tough position. I said, he played for Coach Crean and Coach Miller, and he goes, well, I coached him too. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But, yeah.
Don't poke the bear now.
I know. I'm telling you. I was telling you, you guys seem to have a lot of fun doing that. And that's got to be a way of you keeping yourself into the game as well.
Yeah, I don't know if it helps or hurts a little bit, but it's fun. I mean, we get on there, joke around, jab at each other, and but at the end of the day, like you said, it does keep me close to basketball and close to the program, and kind of forces me to get over my neglect of the game. I just want to kind of not look at it because I know I'm going to miss it more. But I mean, it's fun. I mean, we get to diagnose the game, and I get to give insight on Coach Miller's mindset and a lot of guys' mindsets because I still know a lot of the guys, and just kind of their day-to-day operations, kind of where they're at as a team and as a program at that given point in time.
And speaking of Indiana, where they are right now, Sunday after their loss to Michigan, I could tell Archie was just, there's no other way to put it, he was pissed after the game. In the post-game, you could tell he was just pissed.
Yeah, and I said it on our show, and I'll say it on every show I ever go on. Coach Miller is one of the most competitive people I've ever been around. He's not much for our improving, but he is. He likes improvement, but at the end of the day, he's a results-driven guy. If you get the job done, you're going to play. And one of the things I was listening to his press conference, and I knew this was what he would say because we've been talking about it for a couple of weeks now, and I think he just needs to get it off his chest. I know he's been harping on it in the locker room. Is that they just need to be tougher out of the start. You can't go into places like Ann Arbor or any Big Ten school or even Chapel Hill or any of those places on the road and start out the way we do. We start that way against teams that we should blow out. And we end up blowing them out because we can dig ourselves out of a hole. But in an environment like that against a team with that caliber, we can't start that slow. And that's the thing. He says he wants to see more toughness out of the guys at the beginning so that we don't have to grind for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and that seems to be something that he's really aggravated about. It almost was palpable to me that he's like, all right, I'm sick and tired of this stuff. I'm sick and tired of talking about it. I'm sick of being questioned about it, and it's time to do something about it. But he is a little handcuffed because he doesn't have the personnel because of the injuries right now, because I think what he'd probably like to do is call a timeout about 30 seconds in and run 5 guys up to that scorer's table and send a message.
Yeah, I know he's very frustrated with that. Those are things you can't control, though, to a certain extent. And knowing Coach Miller, he's going to stick to 8 or 9 guys regardless. He's never going to get past 9, in my opinion. As we saw a couple games ago, he really narrowed down to, I think we only played 7, 8 guys a couple games ago. And Steve and our co-host, our producer Mike Goodpasser, were kind of surprised. And I was like, look, guys, I told you at the beginning of the season that this is what's going to happen. He's going to narrow it down. He's going to find his guys, and he's going to run. So I think that's part of what's happening. I think that he's frustrated because in his mind he's found the guys that he's going to run with on a game-in, game-out basis, those 7, 8, maybe 9 guys. And he's so frustrated because those are the most talented and the best group to go with, best cohesive group to go with, but they're not starting the way he wants to. And I think that's the most frustrating thing for him, just because he knows that they have more in the tank, obviously, because when we started the second half against Michigan, I thought our defense was phenomenal. Yes, they still scored, but I think our guys are flying around. There's a lot more ball pressure. There's a lot more help side defense. I think that he sees that in film, and he's like, where is this the first 5 minutes of the game? And we wouldn't be in this hole that we're in. So I think that's where the frustration lies with Coach Miller.
Yeah, and I think we're talking with Colin Hartman, former Hoosier great. Losing Rob Finney for this period at point has got to be crushing to him, because point is so important to him and his offense of what he's doing, and especially find a gem like Rob Finney who is really growing into that role at a young age. But man, you can definitely see the difference when he's not in there running that offense.
Yeah, and Rob's one of the first guys that Coach Miller brought on. He's a epitome of a Coach Miller guard, and just really sound, does the right thing, makes smart plays, and he's evolved into obviously making big shots. So that's good there too. But yeah, it hurts. I think Devontae Green has stepped up a little bit. But I think that Rob is going to be the steady hand game in and game out that you can go to, and he's going to make the right play, the smart play, and the easy play. Hit singles rather than try to hit home runs every time. So it'll be good to have him back, and I think it's kind of good to allow him to be out right now, just because it allows guys to get more playing time and get more cohesiveness. Get Devontae, get his confidence up, because quite candidly, I think Devontae is one of the best players on the team, bar none. He just being around there, I know he's unbelievably talented. I think that he just needs to step into his own and do what he does. And I think that this last couple games could be a little confidence booster, and he can carry that through the rest of the season.
He's definitely had to be the man here of late. As they've struggled with these injuries, it's like, man, they can't get past it. It seems like just as soon as a couple of guys get healed up, and somebody else goes down. And they went through that last year somewhat. You were hurt, and you had to battle through those injuries. How hard is it for you, for the team, to get into that cohesive flow when you guys get injured and you can't get the guys in there that you want to get in at the time?
It's a rhythm thing. Like you said, it's a flow. It's a rhythm. It's very, very difficult to have 5 guys put on the court in tough situations that you haven't been playing with regularly in practice, because guys are sitting out of practice, they're sitting out of games, they're sitting out of everything. The only thing that they're really in on is film. Yes, you see the game, and I think one of the best things of, if there is a good thing about sitting out, I think the good thing about sitting out is you see the game from a different angle. You get to see it from a coach's perspective. You get to see it from a fan's perspective. You get to see the practices from a different perspective, and then you can translate that and change the way that you act and play on the court based off what you saw. But it's very difficult to get 6, 7, 8 guys to play on the same page at all times if they're not playing together on a daily basis.
As we go forward, hopefully they get. Hopefully Rob Finney will be back in the lineup Friday night. They're on the road at Maryland. The Big Ten this year, golly, it seems like we say it a lot, but this year more so than a long time. This is a tough conference, and it's going to be a meat grinder.
The thing about the Big Ten is, especially at Indiana, as an IU basketball player, you are going to get everybody's best shot every single night. You can lose on any given night. I don't care if it's home or away. You will get everybody's best shot every single night. And I know Michigan State feels that. I know Michigan feels that right now, obviously with the ranking. It's difficult to be at your best every single night and be that 1 through 8, 1 through 9. But the Big Ten is anywhere you go. There's different environments. Even playing at Penn State was hard when we went there, just because there was no fans there. There literally was no fans. It was like playing a
practice game.
Scrimmage. Yeah, it was like playing a practice game of scrimmage, whatever. And you could never get flow. I'd rather have people chanting against me and have some energy in the building than have it just be stale. And there's different aspects where you think, oh, this is an easy win, but there's different factors that go into playing in those games that people don't see. Because they're not there or not on the court. So everywhere is hard to play, just because everywhere has their own pieces of that make it unique that you're not used to But at the end of the day, you just have to block that out and zone in and know that you have a cohesive group that's ready to roll.
Former Hoosier Colin Hartman with us now. Colin, you've been a member of this team even. If they can get their early game woes fixed because they're so good with the two-point shot. They're shooting the ball overall very, very well. Their defense has been playing better. They only had 7 turnovers on the road at Michigan. How good can this team be if they can get that early game stuff fixed?
That is there's no telling where we could go. I mean, there's no reason that we couldn't be in a Final Four. There's no reason for it. We're athletic. We have experienced older players that have been there before, not to the Final Four, unfortunately, but been in big situations. And we have young guys like Romeo and Rob that are very, very explosive, can play, can shoot, can make shots, and are just grind it out. That's one thing that we talked about on our radio show, is our podcast, is this team is super, super resilient. And I always say that I think that the best thing that this team has done is had to have these kind of growing pains and learning pains as playing a lot of young guys, but at the same time, they're not doing that by losing. They're not having to take losses to learn these lessons. They're learning these lessons through wins, which obviously will translate to come tournament time. And I think this team, if you can get over that hump in the beginning, then there's no telling, how much they'll beat teams by.
How special of a player is Romeo Langford?
He's probably the best finisher I have seen in a very long time. If you watch his, he'll have these drives where he drives down the lane line, literally parallel to the lane line, and get a very, very tough angle at the backboard to finish, because he's outside of the lane. He's far away from the bucket at a weird angle, going straight towards the baseline. And as a defender and as a defensive coach, that's probably what you want. You want the player outside of the lane driving straight toward the baseline, just because that's not it's not an easy shot. And he makes that routinely. His finger rolls, his explosiveness in the lane, his shiftiness is great. I think that the one thing that he does need to work on a little bit more is his three-point shooting. I think he has a great-looking shot. That's just going to come with reps. I know that they're working on that with him every day down there, and I know he is working on that as well. He made a big shot against Michigan, just a pull-up dribble out of the three. And then I think one of the things that's really underrated is his defense. That dude is long, athletic, and explosive, and he uses it on the defensive end. I think as he gets comfortable and gets more comfortable with the game, he'll start climbing in people more. And as we get our defense shored up and he starts trusting people more and everybody starts trusting each other and getting on the help side and shrinking the floor, that we'll be able to put more ball pressure and start speeding teams up more. Just because I know Coach Miller does want ball pressure. There's no, all right, let's sit back and let him hold it. That's going to come with trusting your teammates and being on the help side. And I think that's one thing that Romeo is going to be able to do, is because he is so athletic and so explosive that he can make up for his mistakes with that athleticism. I didn't have that luxury. He definitely has that luxury, and I think that he will start to realize it as they start to trust and grow with each other.
Colin Hartman, I can't thank you enough. Hopefully we can do this again. I look forward to it. Make sure you check out Colin Hartman and Steve Risley at thegruelingtruth.net as they give you a post-game reaction on every game and once a week on Indiana basketball. Colin, thank you, brother. I appreciate it very much.
Hey, thanks for having me. I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you. Colin Hartman, we'll look forward to doing that again. Former Hoosier great joining us here on the program. Like I said, you can catch him and Steve Risley at thegruelingtruth.net as they recap each ball game. That's going to pretty much wrap it up for us here today. We've had a great show. Matt Weaver was with us. Thank you very much. Make sure you find us on Facebook, iHeartRadio, all those good things, XVW. Thanks a lot for a great day. For Justin Kalen, this is Jim Coyle, and I will see you on the radio.